cults, crimes, and chaos, delving into the sinister Manson family murders. Hey there, welcome back to our channel. In the United States, the summer of 1969 was highlighted by the Apollo 11 moon landing, marked by the Peace and Music Festival Woodstock, and marred by a gruesome killing spree that claimed the lives of actress Sharon Tate and 8 others, if not more. The Manson Family Murders, one of the most infamous crimes in American history, shocked the world in the late 1960s. Led by the charismatic and manipulative Charles Manson, a group of followers known as the Manson family carried out a series of brutal killings, forever leaving a dark stain on the era of peace and love. This video delves into the chilling story of the Manson family and explores the twisted ideology behind their actions. Get ready to uncover the sinister details of a crime that sent shockwaves through society. So, who was Charles Manson? Charles Manson was born in Cincinnati, Ohio, on November 12, 1934, when his mother was just 16 years old and his mother married a different man just before he was born, and from him, Charlie took the name Manson. At just 9 years old, he was already cutting school and stealing. As a result of his behavior, Charles ended up spending much of his childhood in reform schools and other facilities for delinquent boys. In 1956, Charles was given his first adult prison sentence, and for the next 11 years, he would be in and out of the system. Building the Manson family. In 1967, 32-year-old Charles Manson was released from prison once again. He then made his way to San Francisco and quickly found a home in the counterculture movement there. Reportedly obsessed with being the center of attention, Charles became a sort of spiritual guru and built up a following in the hippie-filled Haight-Ashbury district of the city, where the so-called Summer of Love was already underway. Most of the followers he collected were vulnerable young women who were looking for a sense of belonging, and that's exactly what he gave them. The Manson family, as Charles and his followers eventually came to call themselves, traveled up and down the West Coast before creating a home base at LA's Spahn Ranch in 1968. They settled down here, listening to Charlie's spiritual teachings, taking drugs, and rubbing shoulders with the music moguls, and Charlie reportedly hoped would help him make it big as a musician before things took a turn the following year. James Buddy Day, the director of Manson, the women and author of the new book Hippie Cult Leader, The Last Words of Charles Manson, says, "Everybody that was there that I've spoken to says the first year was great. There was a lot of affection and support, and they were everything to each other. Manson was playful and funny and nice, and then things took a turn for the worse in July 1969. And that kind of started the downfall. The infamous Manson Murders. The first victim of Charlie's followers was musician and friend of the Manson family Gary Hinman. Several Manson family members, including Bobby Beausoleil and Susan Atkins, had come to try to collect money from Gary one day in July 1969. When they had no luck, they killed him, reportedly on Charlie's orders. But the violence didn't stop there. On the night of August 8, 1969, 4 Manson family members drove to the home of well-known director Roman Polanski. Again, they allegedly did so on the orders of Charles himself, who had instructed them to kill whoever they found there. Roman wasn't home, but his 8-month pregnant girlfriend, actress Sharon Tate, was along with her friends. Susan, Tex, and Patricia snuck into the Los Angeles mansion and brutally murdered all 4 of the friends, plus Stephen Parent, who was a friend of the home's caretaker. Linda, meanwhile, stood outside to keep guard. The very next night, the same group of Manson family members set out to kill again, but this time, they brought along fellow family member Leslie Van Houten and Charles himself. So, on August 9, 1969, Susan, Tex, Patricia, and Leslie snuck into the home of grocery store executive Leno LaBianca and his wife Rosemary, murdering the couple while Linda and Charles waited for them to finish. Toward the end of that August, Charlie's followers murdered one more man, Donald "Shorty" Shea, a ranch hand at Spahn. Ultimately, though, Charles and his followers evaded the authorities for 2 months before they were arrested in October 1969, on suspicion of car theft. Then, the secrets began to come out. Going to trial. Susan Atkins, who had been charged in the murder of Gary Hinman, gossiped about the other murders to a fellow inmate, and Charles Manson and his followers were indicted in December 1969. During their trial, prosecutor Vincent Bugliosi famously presented jurors with the now widely accepted story behind the crimes, the helter-skelter theory. The story goes as follows: Charles had long preached to his followers that a race war of epic proportions was on the horizon. He told them that black people would begin to attack and kill white people, and while this was occurring, the Manson family would hide away in caves. When the violence subsided, Charles said they would emerge to rule all those who remained, and he believed the Beatles' White Album, and specifically the song Helter Skelter, prophesied this as well. So, when Charlie's musical ambitions had seemingly reached a dead end, he needed somewhere else to focus his energy, and he decided to jumpstart the violence of Helter Skelter himself, the prosecution argued. In the end, this argument was convincing enough for the jury on January 25, 1971. After 10 days of deliberation, they found Charles, Tex, Susan, Patricia, and Leslie guilty of all charges. Linda, meanwhile, who had served as the prosecution's main witness, walked away without serving any time. Charles Manson and his followers were initially sentenced to death for their crimes, but when California made the death penalty illegal in 1972, their sentences were commuted to life in prison. Charlie spent his in the California State Prison in Corcoran before dying of natural causes on November 19, 2017, at age 83. So, there you have it, our journey into the sinister Manson family murders. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the notification bell so you can join us in uncovering more tales of darkness and intrigue. Thanks for watching.